What's up guys, it's Matt Collins-Jones here, also known as the D365 Geek, and today we're talking about Power Automate and the Microsoft 365 Outlook connector, and we're going to look at the action which is Get Attachments v2. So this action allows you to get the attachments from your Outlook messages. So when a new email comes in, we can get that attachment and then do something with the content. So let's take a look at it. So in Power Automate, I have a flow here and I've got a simple trigger, which is when a new email arrives at v3. This is in the Microsoft 365 Outlook connector triggers. The connector has been renamed recently. It used to be called the Office 365 Outlook connector. It is now the Microsoft 365 Outlook connector. Then we can click on New Step and we can go to the Microsoft 365 Outlook connector and scroll down until we find Get Attachment v2. At this point, it asks us for 2 required parameters and 1 optional parameter. So the first required parameter is message ID. So this is the ID of the message when it comes into the mailbox. Next is the attachment ID. So this is the attachment ID you would like to get out and you would like to get the attachment for. And we also have original mailbox address. This is if you're using a shared mailbox. So if a message goes into your shared mailbox and you want to trigger this flow or use this action, you would specify the shared mailbox in here. You'd usually have a list of items of shared mailboxes. I don't have a shared mailbox and therefore I don't have anything in here, but this is what you would do. You'd put the shared mailbox in here and use the message ID to find it. So in this instance, the message ID is going to be the ID of the trigger, so message ID from there. And then in that trigger, we also get the attachment ID as well. So the attachment ID says attachments, attachment ID. As I put this in, it's going to put an apply to each around everything. Now that's because there may be more than one attachment. And if there is more than one attachment, we're going to need to loop through the results. So this is the AI-assisted authoring that Power Automate offers, where it's trying to help you build your flow. So it knows that it could be more than one, and therefore we're going to do an apply to each around it. So once we've got the content there, once we get to the attachments, we then need to do something with it. So in this instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a OneDrive for Business action of create file. Then I'm going to create a file in my Power Automate folder because that's where I do all my testing. We're going to give it a file name, email attachment.jpg, because I know what it's going to be. You can put this in programmatically, you can get the file content, you can do all sorts of stuff with it to find out what the file is. What I'm just going to do is I'm just going to hard code that in. And then the file content, if I again open up the dynamic content here, the dynamic values, I can see the Get Attachments v2 has this content bytes. Now this is what we need. There are a couple of other things. We've got name, content type. So what I was trying to say, we can use this to get the content type at the end of the name and set that. I'm just going to hard code it in just a little bit easier. But what we need here is the content bytes. So what this will do is when a new email arrives, we're going to get the attachments from the email. We're then going to create a new file in our OneDrive for Business called emailattachment.jpg, and then we're going to populate it with the details from that attachment. So there we go. So let's test this out. So we'll click on test. I'll perform the trigger action. We'll hit save and test. And then that flow will be running. I've got an email here that I'm sending to myself. So this is my Gmail. I'm going to send this over to me. And I've got an attachment here, which is mcj photo jpeg. It says, hi, can you see these attachments? We'll hit send, and I'll send over. Flip back to our flow. We can then go have a look in our mailbox. Now, when I was testing this out earlier, the mail did actually go into my junk folder. So we will cross our fingers to see whether this will go into the inbox. It has, yay! And we can see we've got my attachment there. And if we go back to Power Automate, we got green across the board. It's run successfully. It's picked up the attachment, it's found it, and then it's created the file inside of OneDrive Business. So if I open my OneDrive Business, I'm here, I've got my files, my Power Automate folder, and then we want to look for the new one. It's not there, it's just refresh the page. Needs to be a refresh button here somewhere. email attachment. So I can click on that and I can open it up, and hey, look, there's a sexy guy there. Look really good. So yeah, there is me on my honeymoon, looking pretty fly, and that's how this works. So I can get the content from the attachments, and I can do something with it. So I can put it into OneDrive. I can put it into my CDS, my Dataflex Pro database. I can do something with it. I can tweet it out. I can do any sort of thing. So the world is your oyster when you know how these actions work. So I hope this explains what action does and how it can be used. As always, I want to know what you guys use this for. I think you could use this for taking attachments that are sent by certain people and put them into OneDrive for business to store some data around your projects or things that you're working on or collaborations in case you need them for later things. So there's loads of different things that you could use this for, but let me know what you think in the comments down below, what you use it for at the moment, what you may use it for, or what you're going to use it for in the future. I'd like to know all these things. If you enjoyed this video, if you could like and share it with your friends, that would be much appreciated. If you've not already, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all my latest videos, and I will see you next time.